Tonight, it's here. Omicron confirmed in 2 travellers as hotel and home quarantine return. A man opens fire, takes a hostage at the shops. The worst they've seen in 50 years, the town swamped by a wall of water. The new laws putting a name and face to the trolls of social media. Plus the Sydney club, which off-contract storm hooker Brandon Smith dreams of winning a premiership for.
This is 9 News with Peter Overton.
Good evening. We were told it was inevitable and the prediction has been realised. The dangerous new strain of COVID, known as Omicron, is in Sydney. 2 international travellers with the virus are in hotel quarantine, and tonight the race is on to find the other passengers who were allowed to isolate at home.
In the last hour, New South Wales Health confirmed the Omicron variant has reached Australia. 2 passengers on the Qatar Airways flight arrived at 7 p.m. last night from Doha. However, they started their journey from southern Africa, where the variant has originated. Both were asymptomatic and are now in quarantine and special accommodation. Earlier, the Health Minister feared the new variant had landed.
We have to expect that Omicron B11529, the variant of COVID, may well already be here.
Another 12 passengers on the flight were also from southern Africa and are now in hotel quarantine.
This just clearly demonstrates that the pandemic is not over. We need to learn to live alongside the virus and also learn to live alongside the various strains of the virus that will come our way.
A new COVID variant, and at Sydney Airport a new level of concern. Multiple passengers from Southeast Asia in their own hazmat suits. And travellers finding at the last moment that entry rules had changed.
We thought that we would get turned back. We were on the tarmac and they turned us back to get a health official to tell us whether we could land or not.
Every passenger arriving here, even if fully vaccinated, must now spend 3 days in home quarantine.
Since you've been in the air, we've now got to do it 72 hours. We've got to stay
yes, I think I've got to do it again.
Yeah.
I've got a form now that tells me I've got to do another PCR test.
I think the 72-hour isolation of those coming in from overseas is a very sensible and practical measure, and we'll keep a very close eye on it.
Another 29 people from South African countries arrived in Sydney last night on Qatar and Emirates flights. They are now in hotel quarantine for 14 days.
There are limits to what the state and federal government can do. These variants will get into the country. It is inevitable. But what we can do to keep people safe is to get vaccinated.
Foreigners from 9 South African countries are now banned from entering Australia. A waste of time, according to one leading South African epidemiologist.
Unfortunately, it's the wrong thing to do because it doesn't help. A virus like this is going to reach every part of the world, whether we like it or not.
It took the Delta variant just 3 weeks to reach 53 countries. And there is early evidence Omicron is far more transmissible. It's already reached the UK, Germany, Italy, Belgium, Hong Kong and Israel.
It's more transmissible and potentially it can evade some of the vaccines.
The Federal Health Minister believes there is a positive in this latest threat.
We have seen no signs that this is a more dangerous disease in terms of its impact on hospitalisation, serious illness or loss of life.
The new variant isn't spooking the Premier. New South Wales will plough ahead with relaxing the health orders on QR codes and masks on December the 15th, and the rules that have so far restricted the unvaccinated will still be removed. With a new variant in the wings, the Premier says now is the time for people to get a booster shot if they are 6 months on from their second dose. Mark Burrows, 9 News.
All right, I want to go live to Laura Tunstall now at Sydney Airport. Laura, good evening. What do we know about the other passengers who were on last night's Qatar Airways flight?
Well, Pete, they have all now been deemed to be close contacts. However, all 260 of them last night were allowed to leave the airport of their own accord and make their way into home quarantine. New South Wales Health has obviously spent today trying to recontact these passengers. Many of them would have caught taxis home, public transport home. Some are staying with family members. Of course, the worry is if there was any transmission of this new variant on that plane, there could be a risk of it spreading here. New South Wales Health is also urgently tonight trying to contact any other travellers who have arrived from those southern African countries over the last 14 days. They are trying to get in contact with them so that they can carry out further testing. Of course, for those passengers who have arrived from there over the past 2 weeks, they haven't had any restrictions on their movements, Pete.
OK, Laura, thank you. New South Wales is closing in on the 95% double dose vaccination rate. Will that be enough to protect us from this new virus strain? Let's go to Mark Burrows, who's with me in the studio. Mark, have we done enough?
Peter, it really is a great unknown just how effective our vaccines will be against the variant. And that's because this has just been discovered. Both of these passengers with the variant were vaccinated and were asymptomatic. Now, that's a promising sign. The Federal Health Minister, Greg Hunt, said at this stage there has been no sign so far that Omicron is resistant to vaccines. If there is any evidence it is resistant, expect those entry and quarantine rules and possibly the roadmap to change very quickly. Peter.
Mark, thank you. Borders around the world are slamming shut as a growing number of countries record their first Omicron cases. And South Africa has hit out, claiming it's being unfairly punished for discovering the variant.
Confusion and cancelled flights at Johannesburg's main airport, the world bracing itself for another potentially dangerous new strain.
I have to quarantine in a hotel on my cost for 10 days.
It's unfair, it's unjustified, it's abrupt, and it's not good for tourism for South Africa.
61 passengers testing positive upon landing in the Netherlands from South Africa. They were mid-flight when Dutch health authorities introduced new travel restrictions, now confined to this hotel on the outskirts of Amsterdam, awaiting genetic sequencing. As COVID's latest chapter unfolds, Boris Johnson is hoping to buy time.
We need to slow down the seeding of this variant in our country.
A raft of new precautionary measures rolled out, 4 more countries added to the red list, PCR tests on day 2 for travellers and isolation until a negative result is returned. All contacts of a positive case must now isolate for 10 days, even if they're fully vaccinated. An early leader in mass vaccinations, Israel announcing a stopgap, shutting their borders to all foreigners for at least a fortnight.
The reaction of some of countries in terms of imposing travel bans and such measures are completely against the norms and standards as guided by the World Health Organization.
Our failure to vaccinate the rest of the world is not only causing deaths in Africa and Asia, Latin America and other parts of the world, but is going to come back to haunt us.
The United States yet to have a positive Omicron case, but unlikely to stay that way.
Do you believe that Omicron is already here in the U.S. likely?
You know, I would not be surprised if it is. When you have a virus like this, it almost invariably is ultimately going to go essentially all over.
Officials are hoping this new variant could convince millions of unvaccinated Americans to finally get their COVID jab and that they could see an improvement in a so far sluggish demand for boosters.
If you have not had the booster shot, get the booster shot.
A question mark over vaccine effectiveness will remain for weeks. Pfizer and Moderna claim if needed, they could turn around a jab for a new strain within months.
In some ways, if you look at the straight molecular biology of the mutations, it looks potentially quite a lot scarier even than Delta.
Delta remains the predominant American variant, 99% of all infections, as the daily case average sits at 88,000. New York's governor declaring a state of emergency and cancelling elective surgery as COVID cases rise at a rate not seen since April of last year. In the United States, Alison Petrowski, 9 News.
A masked shooter has today brought panic upon the fishing town of Windang near Wollongong. Dressed in black and armed with 2 guns, the man allegedly opened fire at drivers and pedestrians before taking a shop employee hostage.
Dressed for combat, a masked man on a mission. Sounding off and turning a rifle on passing traffic.
Wait, what the f*** is going on?
Just before 10 in the morning.
Is he real?
Eyewitness footage of a heavily armed man, the likes of which rarely seen on Australian streets.
People were panicking. It was terrifying. Everyone was just running.
Wait, honest, I'm scared.
I just panicked and ran with the crowd and jumped the fence and ran straight back to mine.
Picking up a small silver briefcase from the middle of Windang Road, he moves on to the nearby dive and spearfishing store and holds up.
There were 2 employees of the dive shop. One of them got out. The second employee was in there and he was later released to police.
Giving himself up and arrested after a short standoff with police. Local man Simon Fleming tonight in custody. Investigators surround his family home. Sources say Fleming had long been battling demons. That the anti-vaxxer travelled to Sydney yesterday to protest in the city. COVID theories aside, he was a licensed firearm holder and would have been subject to regular checks. The 40-year-old previously only known for traffic matters. The incident shut down the Wollongong fishing town. Fears the man in black could have left explosives in his wake.
We've had the bomb and rescue unit go in there, examine the items and render the whole incident safe.
Anti-masker today masked up. What sparked the brief public rampage, now in the hands of police. Ruth Wynne-Williams, 9 News.
The New South Wales Police Force will send 15 officers to the Solomon Islands following a request from the federal government. The team, made up of members from the riot squad, will help boost the support already being provided by ADF troops. After days of violence in the capital, 3 people are dead and more than 100 have been arrested. The Prime Minister wants to force social media titans to unmask anonymous online trolls and make the companies legally liable for any abuse. He's also pledging to throw Commonwealth dollars behind individual defamation actions in a bid to make the internet safer.
A sports ground and budding athletes were the backdrop for shooting from the hip.
Oh, very good, very good.
And shooting from the lip.
The online world shouldn't be a wild west where bots and bigots and trolls and others can just anonymously harm people and hurt people, harass them and bully them and sledge them.
Scott Morrison wants to force social media giants to set up an Australian-based complaints process.
There needs to be an easy and quick and fast way for people to raise these issues with these platforms and get it taken down.
And to make it clear who is responsible for defamation.
The Morrison government will provide clarity in relation to who is the publisher.
A planned law would make social media companies liable for defamatory statements made on their platforms, allow victims to get comments removed, or demand the troll be identified. If that doesn't happen, a court could order disclosure, and the Commonwealth could intervene in disputes where it sees a public interest.
They need to make it safe, and if they won't, we will make them.
It's easier said than done.
It's a logistical nightmare where you have the Facebooks and Twitters, etc., located in the United States.
Anthony Albanese's thoughts lie closer to home.
If it wants to stop misinformation on social media, it could start with some of its own members.
With 1 week left in the parliamentary sitting year, Scott Morrison will be hoping that his backbench settles down and stops trolling him.
The Prime Minister didn't control the House of Representatives, didn't control the Senate and didn't control the government.
That is the nature of Liberals and Nationals. We don't go around treating people like drones.
But his Christmas will come early when Parliament rises. Chris Ullman, 9 News.
A possible clue in the murder of Sydney man Khalim Saliba has been made public, with police looking for this car. The grey Audi TT was seen travelling in the area of Tallowood Avenue in Cherrybrook before and immediately after the murder in April last year. The 86-year-old was attacked by 2 masked men who forced entry into his home. Hundreds of millions of dollars is being laundered by criminals through poker machines across New South Wales, according to the state's gambling watchdog. The revelations heap pressure on the Perrottet government to back reforms to fight organised crime infiltration of pubs and clubs.
For years, the pokies industry has denied it has an organised crime problem. But now it's been caught on camera. This CCTV vision from an inner-city Sydney pub shows a criminal syndicate at work. Leading financial crime lawyer Andrew Trigard says it's undeniable evidence of dirty money being cleaned.
What we're seeing here is poker machines being used as washing machines. This is money laundering.
The exclusive vision of the criminal exploitation of this pokies venue, obtained by 60 Minutes, The Age and the Sydney Morning Herald, highlights an endemic problem, according to the most senior gaming investigator in New South Wales, David Byrne.
How big do you suspect the problem actually is?
I would suggest easily in the hundreds of millions, possibly billions.
Byrne warns drug and human traffickers are exploiting pubs and clubs to launder huge sums of cash. He says the problem is getting worse and much more needs to be done to fight it.
Are you doing this because the society, the community, the clubs, the pubs need a wake-up call?
Oh, I think based on what we're finding, they need a wake-up call, definitely, yeah.
It's also a wake-up call for the Perrottet government, which has backed searing scrutiny of organised crime in casinos, but not yet pubs and clubs.
I suppose the question should be asked, if it's good for them, then it's probably good for the clubs as well.
Nick McKenzie, 9 News.
And you can see more of Nick McKenzie's investigation on 60 Minutes tonight. Vital supplies have been flown into Gunnedah, west of Tamworth, with residents stuck in the middle of a flood not seen in half a century. There are similar scenes across the state, and the message is the floodwaters are here to stay.
It's been nearly 50 years since Gunnedah has seen water like this. The swollen Namoy River creeping into streets and homes, the town's showground more of a muddied pool.
Hope the tennis courts are okay. It's a pretty busy part of the town normally.
Water levels peaked at 8.61 metres late this morning, the highest since 1974. Jason Wheeler and his children were forced to abandon their home and head for higher ground.
I've got another car, camper van, kids stuff. Memories. My wedding stuff, I get married next year.
With roads cut off, supplies were flown in to isolated properties. For some locals, though, the food found them. SES volunteers carried out 12 flood rescues in the past 24 hours. Hay boated out to these cows seeking refuge on the Boston Street Bridge near Boggabri. Just one task, keeping crews moving.
Some of those flood rescues over the whole event have been people driving into floodwaters.
South in Singleton, residents great and small escaped the worst of the wet. This afternoon, 700 locals forced to evacuate low-lying areas overnight were given the all clear. The fast-flowing Hunter River peaked at 12.7 metres, enough to fill the local footy oval, but failing to hit the 13-metre mark first predicted. The water now flowing towards Maitland. Minor flooding is expected around the town tomorrow.
All our dams are full and some are on white alert. That means they're going up to capacity.
Burrendong in the central west sitting at a whopping 146%, today bursting at the seams. Warragamba also putting on its own water show. Downstream in the Hawkesbury Nepean Valley, SES crews are on high alert. Out of the dam. At the moment there is no threat to property, but that could change if more rain is forecast.
Within 24 hours we can go from this level here at plus 2.6 to a 6 or 8 metre flood.
James Wilson, 9 News.
And with more on today's weather. Good evening, Amber.
Good evening to you, Pete. It's been a mostly cloudy day in Sydney with a few sprinkles of rain in some suburbs and moderate to fresh southeasterly winds. Another day of below average temperatures after falling to a low of 16 degrees this morning. The city only reached 21 just after lunch. Our west even cooler, only climbing to 20 degrees, which is a whopping 8 degrees below average. La Nina will continue to deliver cooler weather and showers over the next week, but tomorrow is looking like one of the better days. I'll be back with a full forecast a little later, Pete.
Amber, thank you. First it was your licence, then your vac certificate. Tonight the new thing coming to your digital wallet. A discovery in the search for William Tyrrell. We're at the site next. Fire tears through a quarantine hotel, a mum of two now in custody. A pub worker on a break gets the shock of her life. And forget your Opal card, the Sydney bus routes that will be free this week.
First, you need to find some good quality timber. I'm using hardwood. Now create the frame. Now's the time to decorate it.
Just to have you back again.
Can I kick it? Can I kick it? This is my maker's moment, and I make it remarkable.
I need to try it first.
Mount Franklin Lightly Sparkling. Water with more wow.
Deliveroo presents free delivery on all your favourites. Get crispy food, fresh food, feel-good food, flavour-filled food. Food, we get it.
My twin sister. I just can't wait to finally meet you.
A lost twin.
You want me to take your place? Oh my god.
A deadly game.
You're not Sutton.
Sometimes finding the truth
I'm gonna find our real parents.
means living the perfect lie.
We switched places.
The addictive drama
Even your real mother didn't want you.
with a killer twist. Stream every episode of The Lion Game on 9 Now.
Shut up and take my money.
Nine News, brought to you by KFC. KFC delivers, now on the KFC app.
There's been a break in the relentless rain on the mid-north coast, allowing investigators to forge ahead in the search for William Tyrrell's remains. 9 News reporter Tiffany Genders is in Kendall for us tonight. Tiff, what happened today?
Pete, after a week of rain, it cleared up today, so those involved in the operation made the most of better conditions. A bone was found down near the creek, but investigators don't believe it's human. It's almost certainly from an animal, but it will be taken away for forensic testing. Now, work has wrapped up for the day after. Police spent hours on end clearing scrub, picking through mud and sifting through sand. Tomorrow marks the start of week 3 in this operation. And although it is dragging on, the determination to find William Tyrrell is what's keeping everyone going.
All right, Tiffany, thank you. A COVID emergency of a different kind. The top floor of a quarantine hotel in Cairns up in flames, allegedly sparked by a woman who had been isolating inside.
Significant damage. You can see from the video footage and the photos that have been released that those rooms and possibly a number of floors at the Pacific Hotel will be unusable.
A 31-year-old mother of two who had been in Victoria is tonight in custody, charged with arson. A pub worker has cheated death when a large tree crashed through a roof just inches away from her. 3 people have been killed by falling trees as a result of Storm Arwen, the weather system that's battering the north of England and Scotland. The storm is packing winds of nearly 160 kilometres per hour and dumping heavy snow. At one point there were 120 trucks stuck in the snow. Police fired tear gas and birdshot pellets while fighting protesters with batons in Iran. The central city of Isfahan has seen days of demonstrations demanding government action over a drought. Social media videos show police and protesters clashing in a dry riverbed. It's estimated 97% of the country now faces some level of drought. Search operations have resumed after a deadly methane explosion at a Siberian coal mine. Authorities had initially reported 52 dead, but yesterday a survivor was found in what has been described as a miracle. 5 people in Russia will face charges over the accident. Management accused of forcing miners to work despite high methane concentrations. Dramatic drone footage shows the scale of the lava flow on the Spanish island of La Palma. The volcano has been active since September 19 and shows no signs of abating. Another vent recently opening up. More than 50 years of memories up in flames, a community devastated by the shock loss of the Narrabeen Sailing Club. A crash at Fairfield leaves an almighty mess. The new treatment for one of our most aggressive cancers. Hollywood greats pay tribute to the man behind the musicals. And Arlo lending a paw to Australians when they need it most.
My fire, the one desire you are. Don't wanna give you I want it that way.
I'm Rimby Matiwa, founder of Rimby & Co., a curl specializing brand. Sandal's been a dream to work with because, like any entrepreneur, saving money is very important. And there's no minimum spend, so I got to enjoy those perks and my clients get to enjoy their products.
With Wi-Fi Booster on Optus NBN family plans, your home Wi-Fi will reach to all sorts of places. It starts with yes.
I need to try it first.
Mount Franklin Lightly Sparkling. Water with more wow.
'Tis the Sunday to be jolly. On the grand finale showdown, a champion will be crowned.
This is block level drama.
Who will win
I'm about to blow your mind.
and take home the ultimate Christmas trophy?
The winner will take home.
Where is it?
Who took the trophy?
Christmas special grand finale tonight at 7.
For 4 hours, so nothing gets in the way of your family fun. Right now at Chemist Warehouse, Banana Boat Sport Lotion SPF 50 plus 200-gram tube is $8.49. Look for the new Banana Boat Sport Roll-On for on-the-go protection. Live, look, feel well at Chemist Warehouse.
Unlock the secret recipe of Australia's favourite snacks.
Who can crack snacks?
Snack Masters, Monday 7:30.
It was a sinking feeling for the tight-knit sailing community of Narrabeen today, arriving to find their beloved club gutted by fire, thousands of dollars worth of equipment destroyed. Those who were there last night tried to salvage what they could. Now they're on a mission to rebuild.
50 years of history up in smoke. Flames roaring from the roof of the Narrabeen Lake Sailing Club yesterday, a cloud of thick smoke rolling across Jemison Park.
There was flames shooting 20 feet above the roof, roughly, and every now and then you'll hear this pop.
It's believed the fire started at the back of the building, home to kayak hire business Jemison Park Paddle. The flames quickly spreading into the sailing club, destroying thousands of dollars worth of equipment.
Yeah, probably north of 25 boats in there, plus safety boats and a lot of equipment. Obviously there's some insurance, but you can't replace the building and a lot of the time and money that's gone in from the members over the years.
Today, fire investigators on scene assessing the damage and working to determine what caused the blaze.
The rear of the building totally gutted. Yeah, the roof beams have totally all come in. The large metal beams have collapsed.
When the fire first took hold, staff scrambled to save whatever they could, dragging all of these kayaks out onto the grass.
It's really lucky in the circumstance that nobody was seriously harmed.
Locals and club members gutted by the loss today, reminiscing on years' worth of memories.
It's a member-owned club. It's a not-for-profit that's been here for decades and is really a big part of the community, and everyone's just devastated by what this means.
Grace Fitzgibbon, 9 News.
A mighty mess has been left by a car crash in Fairfield with a power pole snapped in half, live wires down and a parked car crumpled. A 21-year-old driver was seen driving through a roundabout, then mounting the footpath on the Horsley Drive and smashing her car. She's been taken to hospital for testing, while fire and rescue have closed the road to restore power. An expensive and groundbreaking medication is now within reach of those living with an aggressive form of leukaemia. From December 1, Venclexta will be added to the PBS for the treatment of acute myeloid leukemia, in conjunction with the cancer treatment azacitidine. A course of treatment normally costs more than $88,000 without the PBS, but it will now cost $41 for a prescription. An estimated 1,100 Australians are diagnosed with the disease every year. Some of the entertainment industry's biggest names are remembering the titan of musical theatre who died yesterday, aged 91. Barbara Streisand tweeting, "Thank the Lord that Sondheim lived until 91." Anna Kendrick calling his death a devastating loss. Jake Gyllenhaal, who starred in Stephen Sondheim's Sunday in the Park with George, remembering him as a maestro of American musical theatre. A man and his dog are on a mission to bring joy to cancer sufferers, doing it tough. The pair bringing smiles to patients and hospital staff when they need it most.
An unbreakable bond forged through the hardest of times.
I couldn't imagine life without him.
Mother of two, Morella Smith, was diagnosed with esophageal cancer in June this year at just 44 years of age.
I guess the first feeling was shock, just disbelief that this was happening to me. I'd been very healthy up to that point.
Undergoing treatment at the Royal Adelaide Hospital, Morella met therapy dog Arlo, the 3-year-old Maltese cross poodle, providing comfort and a little joy as Morella bravely fought for her life.
Just having him in my arms, it just takes you away from the illness and gives you a bit of an escape.
Arlo's owner Nick is also a cancer survivor, and with the help of the Hospital Research Foundation, the pair brightens up hospital wards across Adelaide. It seems no one is immune to Arlo's charm, the playful pup also providing much needed relief to hard-working hospital staff.
I'll do the ward and next minute there's 15, 20 nurses behind me, doctors coming, and doctors going to their knees. It's unbelievable.
Now following in Arlo's footsteps, his adopted sister Nala. At just 10 weeks old, her easygoing nature is proving perfect for training.
I'm teaching her to be calm, Just before this interview, we're at the dentist, so she's doing good with sounds and noises.
Nala will join Arlo on visits soon, and together they'll see more than 100 Adelaide patients and staff each week, providing their special form of medicine.
It's amazing. It's just, well, to go in a cancer ward and to actually see people smiling is a rare opportunity.
I think it actually could be the difference between someone just giving up and saying, I'm done, it's too much, and then finding that will to just push further.
Chelsea Carey, 9 News.
Residents have begun moving into a new 220-unit development in Sydney's south-west, built in partnership between the state government and Anglicare. Located near shops and transport, Minto Gardens is a mix of social and affordable housing, along with retirement and aged care living, and features a library, covered barbecue areas and a seniors gym park. The state government has finally had a change of heart on electric scooters. A 12-month trial will be rolled out next year to see how the trendy mode of transport can safely fit in with Sydney's infrastructure. They're currently illegal to ride on New South Wales footpaths. The Service New South Wales app is being turbocharged. From birth to school and beyond, all your personal information will be in the palm of your hand. Is this the end of the paper document? From Parramatta to Fairfield and the Inner West, bus drivers about to strike. A blast from the past on the Harbour Bridge. A century for Alex Carey. Cam, timing is everything.
It certainly is. This is amazing timing, Pete. Just when selectors have to choose a test wicketkeeper to replace Tim Payne, Carey has jumped to the front of the queue with a blazing ton. I would love to win a premiership in that jumper. Which club has Brandon Smith chosen? Plus, why is Benji Marshall dancing in the streets? And Sydney's new world boxing champion, George Kambosos Jr., once trained with Cronulla. Now he's won one of the great fights.
And we can look forward to some blue skies tomorrow, but the cooler weather will stick around for at least the next few days. I'll have your full forecast soon.
H-E-L-P. 4 little characters who are here to help. With 50% off any new NRMA third-party fire and theft car insurance policy. H-E-L-P. Another way of saying NRMA.
You are my fire, the one desire. You are.
Merry Christmas, Dad. Here's a little playlist with a long road ahead. Miss you.
Rock someone's world this Christmas.
Can I kick it? Can I kick it?
This is my maker's moment, and I make it remarkable.
At Light and Easy, we believe eating well is at the heart of health and well-being. It's why we use the freshest quality ingredients to create over 160 delicious, nutritious meals that can be enjoyed by anyone. From those who want to lose weight, to those who want to gain more free time, from those who want to be a little healthier, to those a little older who want to age well. Try Light and Easy for yourself, and if you're not happy, we'll give you your money back. Visit lightandeasy.com.au or call us on 13 15 12.
With Wi-Fi Booster on Optus NBN family plans, your home Wi-Fi will reach to all sorts of places. It starts with yes.
I need to try it first.
Are we going to go to jail?
He conned $1 million out of the world's biggest quiz.
Why do you change your mind so often?
Have you ever seen the show? That's what makes the show. It's the tension.
Who wanted to be a millionaire? My God, these three certainly did.
He came on my show and he cheated.
Some silly people just think Mummy and Daddy did that silly thing.
Did she?
I didn't cheat.
What did you do? Quiz. Thursday, 8:30 on 9.
You'll find 50% off selected silver, 25% off selected gems, and 15% off selected diamonds and gold. Shop now, in-store and online at Michael Hill.
This sports report brought to you by Sportsbet's new Bet with Mates. Start your group, bet together, and share the moment.
With selectors on the verge of calling up young Josh Inglis to replace Tim Payne in the Test side, Australia's wicketkeeper in waiting, Alex Carey, needed something big. Today, he got it. Carey smashed a timely century for South Australia, perhaps enough to swing the decision.
Cricket is all about timing, and today, Alex Carey's was perfect.
Carey takes on Marnus Labuschagne and takes him down.
In his final competitive match before the first Test team is chosen, Carey smashed 101 from 93 balls and was safe behind the stumps despite South Australia losing to Queensland.
It's white ball cricket, but any form's good form, as we like to say.
30-year-old Carey has long been considered Tim Payne's heir apparent, but Josh Inglis, who's 4 years younger, has also been chosen in Australia's extended squad. Both will play in an Australia versus Australia A warm-up game starting on Wednesday. A decision on who starts in the Ashes opener could be made before then.
The preparation will split into sort of two camps from the 5th next month onwards, so that'll be something that'll become clear, I would say, over the next few days.
Little progress was made in the bat-off for number 5 today. Travis Head made 29, Usman Khawaja 16.
Doesn't time it, Khawaja. He's in trouble this time. Catch taken by Kelly.
As Pat Cummins settles into his new role of Australian captain, a former skipper has pinpointed the fast bowler's biggest challenge, controlling the field and his temperament to get the best out of his spinners.
He's hot, he's bothered, he might be fiery, and then Nathan Lyon's bowling at the other end. He's got to make sure that Nathan Lyon's ready to go to bowl and help him out as much as he can as captain to bowl his 6 best deliveries in the next over. That's tough when you're a fast bowling captain.
Luke Doversey, 9 News.
The Scorchers have won the WBBL final, defeating the Strikers in front of a competition record 15,500 fans at Optus Stadium. Perth made 5 for 146 from their 20 overs before restricting Adelaide to 134 to claim their first title. Sounds like Storm hooker Brandon Smith has made up his mind to move to the Roosters. Speaking on a podcast, League's hottest property said time spent with Roosters players left him overwhelmed.
The best thing about the Roosters was, bro, they're about your life, not your footy. Like they want you to be set for life.
A speech from Mitch Orbison about the Roosters culture was the real clincher.
Pretty much want to make you cry, and I was just looking at the Roosters jersey as he was saying, and I had like goosebumps. I was looking at it going, I want to win a premiership in that jersey.
Smith said he appreciated the Roosters' private approach to discussions, unlike the Dolphins, who he felt put him on show. Retirement for Benji Marshall just means he got busier. Since his last game for South Sydney in the grand final, he has embarked on 2 apprenticeships. One as a coaching assistant for his beloved West Tigers, the other a much less familiar role for Channel 9.
Benji Marshall dancing into retirement. 8 weeks ago, he farewelled the NRL in the famous South Sydney jersey. Today, he was in red and green of a different kind as part of his role on Nine's Celebrity Apprentice.
Oh, it's for charity. I mean, we're down there representing Subway today. Obviously, Subway's everywhere.
He dragged along some of the Bunnies' future stars. Lachlan Ilias and Pete Mamazoulis got more than they signed up for.
To be honest, we didn't really know what was going on, but when you get a call from Benji, you just go with it.
Is he paying you for this?
No, I wish he was.
Soon, Benji will start his new role at the West Tigers as a development coach and ambassador. Did you ever think you'd end up back at the Tigers?
Well, I am everywhere. I am like Subway, but yeah, no, I wasn't sure if I'd end up back at the Tigers, but the opportunity to coach kids for me and give back and hopefully develop the next future superstars is a massive thing for me.
Did you have to put differences aside, because it's no secret you didn't end on the best of terms?
Yeah, well, I'm very professional. I mean, like it doesn't matter how you end. At the end of the day, like I'll always be a big part of the West Tigers and they'll always be a big part of me. So to be able to come back, it makes sense.
There was a lot of noise around you and Madge. How is that relationship?
Yeah, fine. I mean, I caught up with Madge after I left to clear the air, and we had a communication breakdown at the time, which was disappointing at the time, but we're all grown men. It's business. Rugby league is a business.
Tim Sheens is also back in Tiger Town, their premiership-winning coach from 2005.
That theme of bringing back Tim, myself, Robbie, guys from the past who have worked, it's about history of the club and making players buy into that history. So that's what Tim's going to bring.
Emma Lawrence, 9 News.
Macarthur Bulls have scored their first victory of their new A-League season, and it came in a derby against Sydney FC. Lachlan Rose's goal in the 17th minute was enough to secure all 3 points at Cogra Oval. Melbourne City's Andrew Naboot scored the goal of the season so far, a long-range strike off the outside of his foot as the defending champions drew 2-2 with Adelaide. Liverpool has moved to within a point of Premier League leaders Chelsea, thrashing Southampton 4-0 at Anfield. The Blues face Manchester United tonight. Arsenal defeated Newcastle 2-0 to move into 5th, while Steven Gerrard is 2 from 2 as Aston Villa manager. His side beat Crystal Palace 2-1. Australia has defeated Hungary in the Davis Cup, but is still likely to be eliminated in the group stage. After John Millman lost the opening rubber, Alex de Minaur and the doubles pairing of Alex Bolt and John Peers won their matches, but Australia's overall record of 2 wins, 4 losses means it's doubtful we'll move into the quarters. And in Dubai, Australia's women have bounced back from a disappointing 5th at the Tokyo Olympics to win the opening Rugby Sevens tournament of the season. The new-look team defeated Fiji 22 points to 7 in the final to remain undefeated over the weekend. Our men fell in their quarter-final, losing to the eventual champions, South Africa. Sydney has a new world boxing champion, George Kambosos Jr., claiming the IBF, WBO, WBA and the ring lightweight world title from Teofimo Lopez. Now, Kambosos, who was once in the Sharks development squad, dropped the champion in the first round and always looked confident, even when he was felled by Lopez in the 10th. In a desperate battle of wills, the Australian finished far stronger than the bloodied Honduran, destined for his first loss in 17 fights. Both men thought they'd won, but the judges gave it to the Aussie in a split decision, one of the greatest victories in our boxing history. Can't underrate what he's achieved there, Pete. That is absolutely sensational.
Huge news. Cam, thank you. Next on 9 News, all your personal information on the One app, but is your privacy at risk? A trip down memory lane on the Harbour Bridge. And if cars aren't your thing, how about a fighter jet?
My fire, the one desire you are. Don't wanna give you anything. I want it that way.
To try it first.
Are we going to go to jail?
He conned $1 million out of the world's biggest quiz.
Why do you change your mind so often?
Have you ever seen the show? That's what makes the show. It's the tension.
Who wanted to be a millionaire? My God, these 3 certainly did.
He came on my show and he cheated.
Some silly people just think Mummy and Daddy did that silly thing.
Did you?
I didn't cheat.
What did you do?
Quiz. Thursday, 8:30 on 9.
Mount Franklin Lightly Sparkling. Water with more wow.
Deliveroo presents free delivery on all your favorites. Get crispy food, fresh food, Feel-good food. Flavor-filled food. Food, we get it.
One little Christmas tree can light up the world. One little Christmas tree can give it shots and joy. You can light up the moon.
You'll get everything you need at your local IGA this Christmas.
Like Streets Magnum ice cream tub or 4 to 6 pack sticks, $4.75 each, half price. And Cadbury chocolate block varieties, $2.50 each, also half price. Now at IGA.
Wish I was part of something. Wish I wasn't alone.
A lot of people feel like us.
Dear Evan Hansen, in cinemas December 9.
Houston, we have a problem.
Tom Hanks in the Oscar-winning blockbuster Apollo 13, tonight on 9 Go.
More free rides for bus commuters in the inner west and also parts of our southwest this week. Drivers will switch off their Opal card readers from Monday to Wednesday in their ongoing industrial action. The additional suburbs affected include Parramatta, Liverpool, Marylands, Prairie Wood and Fairfield. The drivers are calling for equal pay and conditions. It's being billed as the end of the paper document, the Service New South Wales app, turbocharged to handle all your important information on your mobile. From next year, you'll be able to add your birth certificate to your driver's licence, followed by even more.
It's a device we've rarely relied on more. Our QR code gateway during COVID lockdowns, proof we've been vaccinated. But wait, there's more.
Imagine a future where you have the option to carry your identity and important credentials securely on a mobile device.
We've seen through the uptake of the digital driver's licence that almost 2/3 of people have opted into that. So we're very confident that there's a strong appetite for this service offering in the future.
That service, from next year, you'll be able to upload your birth certificate and first aid certificates to the Service New South Wales app, followed by an education wallet for your higher school certificate, diplomas, TAFE qualifications and degrees, virtually any credential you have.
Provided you authorise for that sharing, they'll be able to see that it actually did come from TAFE or it actually did come from a university.
And that's the key to the sales pitch on this: permission. You decide who's entitled to access your digital documents, and if that's breached, well, then it can be tracked. While privacy remains an issue for many,
there's been absolutely no breach of this kind of level of information ever in Australian government. It's actually more of a concern when private companies put information up, and it's private companies that have a more lax security.
It's possible you'll eventually be able to upload your passport to your digital wallet if federal authorities approve.
It is far more secure on digital platforms than paper. On paper, you will hand over your passport, somebody can photocopy it and you don't know where that copy goes.
While the expanded digital wallet will be opt-in only, as with digital licences, it is, it seems, here to stay.
It's a convenience factor. It's not mandatory, but the convenience is absolutely been proven over the last few months.
Eddie Meyer, 9 News.
You would have felt out of place this morning if you were heading across the Harbour Bridge in anything but a Mercedes. 107 Mercedes R107s cruising across the main deck, celebrating the 18 years of their production by the German car maker. But there would be no wind through the hair. The soft tops buckled up to beat the weather. A thrill for plane buffs at the Wings over Illawarra Air Show today. One of the RAAF's F-35 fighter jets showing off against the misty grey skies. The jet shooting skywards, dropping anti-missile flares as it ripped through the cloud. At one stage flying upside down, then almost slowing to a stall. The fighter disappearing into the gloom to resume its role, protecting the country. Coming up in our news, Amber with the weather.
Thanks, Pete. Tonight will be our coolest night for the next week, cooling down to around 10 degrees in Campbelltown. Right now, it's still 17 degrees in the city, 16 in our western suburbs. I'll have your full forecast in just a moment.
my fire, the one desire you are.
I need to try it first.
With Wi-Fi Booster on Optus NBN family plans, your home Wi-Fi will reach to all sorts of places. It starts with yes.
This is the Dyson Corral Straightener with manganese copper alloy plates that flex, shape and gather for enhanced styling with less damage. Dyson Corral.
Mount Franklin, lightly sparkling. Water with more wow.
Since his miraculous birth,
He was the very first calf born in Australia.
they've formed an unbreakable bond.
Good boy, mate.
But what's the big shock
This is Lookjai's last breakfast.
that forces these old friends to say goodbye?
It's quite a poignant moment.
Taronga, Friday on 9.
Really? Years ahead of you. I would give anything I own just to have you back again.
Green Christmas, made with care to share. Easy gifts on the way for a wonderful day. Exclusive Gold Range hams and desserts, Australian made and made to share. That's today's fresh food people.
Christmas World, Christmas World, Christmas all the way. Christmas trees, decorations, lights and more today. Hey!
Go to christmasworld.com.au and save up to 70% off in-store and online.
That's Target. It has been a mostly cloudy day with cool southerly winds and a few sprinkles of rain in some suburbs. Temperatures were up to 8 degrees cooler than average, only reaching a chilly 19 in Richmond, 20 in Kellyville, Parramatta and Campbelltown, 21 the top in the city and 19 in Terry Hills and in Cronulla. We saw a few light showers across northern New South Wales today. The heaviest falls around Goondiwindi and Coonamble. A storm warning in place tonight for the north, central and upper west regions. Temperatures were 5 to 10 degrees cooler than average, only reaching a top of 20 in Bega, Newcastle and in Mudgee, 24 in Albury, Wagga Wagga and in Coffs Harbour. Tomorrow, troughs will bring rain, showers and storms to northern New South Wales and parts of Queensland, while a high will keep elsewhere mostly settled and dry. Brisbane is expecting a shower or two with a top of 26 degrees, fine in Canberra 23, sunshine and 26 degrees in Melbourne, blue skies in Adelaide 28 and staying fine in Perth with a top of 27. A few light showers are expected once again across northern New South Wales tomorrow, but the rest of the state, including most of the coast, should stay dry. It will be a little warmer, heading for tops of 21 in Bathurst and Mudgee, 25 in Dubbo and Grafton and 28 degrees in Narrabri. Sydney can finally look forward to some sunshine tomorrow. The day will start off mostly cloudy before clearing up to blue skies by the afternoon with light winds. We're heading for tops of 22 to 23 degrees right across our western suburbs. That includes Kellyville and Liverpool, 19 in Terry Hills and Cronulla Cronulla and 22 in the city. Let's take a look ahead, and a few light showers are expected on Tuesday and Wednesday with tops of 23 to 24 degrees. A dry day on Thursday, heading for a top of 25 before light showers on Friday and across the weekend. And nights will warm up a little after tonight, lows ranging from 15 to 18 degrees. In our west, a shower or two on Tuesday, 22 degrees. Unfortunately, showers on Wednesday to welcome in the first day of summer with a very unsummery 24 degrees. It will warm up on Thursday and Friday though, heading for 29 degrees before cooling back down for the weekend with cooler tops of 20 to 21 and a few more showers, Pete.
We are bouncing around, Amber. Thank you. Before we go, here's a quick look at what's in store on tonight's edition of 60 Minutes.
Thanks, Pete. Tonight,
how big do you suspect the problem actually is?
It's big.
a Nick McKenzie investigation.
Organised crime always looks for the soft spots.
The criminal gangs caught on camera.
This is a perfect little operation.
Making hundreds of millions.
Possibly billions.
Washing dirty money.
It's the tip of the iceberg when it comes to money laundering.
At our pubs and clubs.
There's clearly a problem.
That's tonight after the Lego Masters special. Back to you, Pete.
Thank you, Sarah. I'll have the late news for you at 9:45 tonight. That is 9 News for this Sunday. I'm Peter Overton. I hope you have a good evening. From all of us, good night.